Welcome to the Protagonist Pub. My name is Tammy, and this is where characters gather. And this morning, every character is joining me in a cup of Death Wish because I got no sleep. And I am looking at the three dogs who are all off camera this morning, responsible for me getting no sleep. Every once in a while, they just go into, hey, I don't want to sleep all night mode, and I am the one that stays up with them. So, yeah. It's also ragweed season here, and this year, ragweed is making me miserable. So I'm filming this before the doors have been open for long. I haven't been outside yet today because if I had, I would barely be able to talk. It is giving me a headache that just will not quit all day. So, little housekeeping first. As you know, I put up the book club choice poll on Friday. And as expected, the L.M. Montgomery book was shooting to the win. And so I know my library didn't have a copy of it. So I went to go pick up a copy and order it so I would have it for October. And much to my flabbergasted amazement, that book is next to impossible to find. When you do find it, it is for an outrageous price. I'm sorry, in excess of $30 for a used mass market paperback in good condition. I think it's outrageous. So I made a post on Discord about it. I'm leaving the poll up. Montgomery is no longer, far in the lead. So I'm sure it will all turn out fine. And yeah, it was a surprise. So if you happen to ever see Among the Shadows by L.M. Montgomery when you're perusing the used stores and it's in, good condition or better, pick it up because you're sitting on a gold mine. I know I certainly plan on it. Should ever find it. Okay. Housekeeping done. What did I read last week? I had a very successful week, and yet there's not a lot to show for it. I did get through the Globe, all the way through the Globe chapter in London by Rutherford. And I think there's like a little over 300 pages left. Let me see, like 329 pages left. So that is doable for completion this week. That is one of my goals for this week, is to get this completed. I did finish the Globe chapter, and I did finish Cymbeline last night. However, I am not yet ready to talk about Cymbeline. I want to go read the Harold Bloom chapter on it. I need to sit with it and process it. So I will talk about Cymbeline next week. I did finish it this week, though. And I had never read it before. I have never seen it performed. Thus, the need to sit with it. Sometimes Shakespeare, you just need to sit with and process before you're ready to discuss in detail. This is one of those cases for me where I need to sit and process before I finish it. Or before I talk about it. I will, however, talk about the two versions I read. So I read the first 3 acts in the Royal Shakespeare Company compendium of all of Shakespeare's works. I am very pleased. It is, There are annotations, but they're footnotes. They're not intruding on the text of the work itself. And I enjoyed this. I did, however, it's heavy. Last night, pick up the Folger Shakespeare Library copy that I had purchased before I bought the Royal Shakespeare Complete Works, because this text was bigger, and given the strength of my headache, little text wasn't going to work. I will say that while I do not appreciate the manner in which the play is presented in this edition, I do, however, appreciate deeply and gratefully the quality of the paper. The pages in this book are nice and thick. I imagine if you're using this as a textbook, it is easy to highlight and annotate and not have it bleed through. And the shocking thing is, including all of the notes at the end, this book is only 324 pages. I've had 500-page books not this thick this year. So I will give them credit. Who published this book? Not public. No, is it not? Nope. Simon & Schuster published it. So Simon & Schuster has done something very, very wise here. These are good quality paper. And, you know, if you're a heavy annotator for Shakespeare, then I can recommend this series. The paper is fantastic. For a play that is, you know, in the bind up is like 75 pages. This is, you know, very thick for 324 pages. So they get kudos on that. Okay. Now, what did I finish this week besides Cymbeline? I finished Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. This is her first work sold, and it was not published during her lifetime. It was posthumously published after her death. Okay. I don't recall reading this in high school, and I have some thoughts. On Storygraph, I rated this a 2.5 yesterday afternoon because I really just no. Catherine Morland is a shallow, vapid, empty-headed goofball of a character that just it was a very torturous read for me. I did finish it. I didn't DNF it, which, you know, would have been the norm for me, given how much I disliked Catherine's character. And let's be honest, every character in the book, I was far more interested in the books Catherine mentions in the course of the story as it opens up, The Mystery of Udolpho by Anne Radcliffe. I realized that this was a satire on the part of Austen, but so for the first half of the book, she is this wishy-washy, spineless, go where the river takes her kind of character who is very much a people pleaser. And admittedly, she's only 17, but 17 in, you know, the Regency era is like, you know, mid to late 30s in maturity, modern day. And she just cannot think for herself. So she meets Henry Tilney at a ball, and well, she never says she falls in love with him. She's clearly very interested in pursuing that, but she somehow always finds herself, partnering up with her friend's brother. And then she gets invited by the Tilneys to go to their house, and she makes a series of absolutely ludicrous assumptions without basis in fact. And every time she's proven wrong, does she learn from her mistakes? No. Learning and Catherine Morland do not belong in the same sentence. So she stays at the Tilney estate, Northanger Abbey, the titular, the title of the book, for over a month. Imagine having a house guest for over a month. Yes, I realize it was different in the Regency era. This was not uncommon, but still. When she suddenly gets thrown out of the abbey by Henry's father and gets sent home. The characters in this book, all of them, are just unlikable and goofy, and there is very little character development. There is very little fleshing out of plot details. Like at the end of the book, Henry's sister ends up getting married. Really? To whom? It's never even mentioned to whom. She just gets married. And Henry and Elizabeth and Catherine end up together. I never saw the romance. I never saw any affection of Henry for Catherine until suddenly, he's embarrassed that his father threw her out of the house. I am hoping that when I sit down today and I read the chapter in Jane Austen's Genius Guide to Life on Catherine Morland and Northanger Abbey, that it will somehow change my mind. Now, in 12 pages, that is a lot to ask, because right now I do not see that even being remotely possible. I will let you know next week when I sit down and read this, probably this morning. So that is everything I read last week. I read lots of things, but I didn't finish a lot of things. I'm hoping this week to finish things. So I have started the 100 Days of Dante. Today is Canto 3. This is a terrific way to read Dante. I'm telling you, that one canto 3 times a week is not taxing to the brain. It is not taxing to fit in a canto in a busy schedule, and then you're done until, the next one. So far, I am very much enjoying this. I am looking forward to continuing this. Also today, I am hoping I probably won't finish it today. But this week I will finish The Blazing World by Margaret Cavendish. I haven't picked it up since I last talked about it, but it's not like this is a long read, so I just need to sit down and finish it. I'm like halfway through it. So that will be an easy completion for next week. I would also like this week very much to finish I Am Margaret by Corinna Taylor. I have started it. This is my Catholic read for the month that I will finish. Obviously, Dante is a Catholic read, but I'm not going to finish it this month. So that is very high on my list to finish this week, and it's just a matter of making it a priority in addition to other things. I am also hoping to finish London this week so I can check off that Dave book for the year, put it back on the bookshelf, and figure out what Rutherford I'm reading next. It's probably going to be The Forest. I'll probably start it in January and read a chapter a month, depending on how many are in the book. I haven't quite looked yet. So it's between The Forest, which is the forest directly outside of Bath, or probably Russia. So it's going to be one of those two. I'm not sure yet. We shall see. And I need to pick up Words of Radiance again this week. So I have a very busy reading week. And luckily, the weather is going to force me to stay inside, because if I spend any amount of time outside, I'm worthless for hours. So yay for allergies. And if I somehow, get time and make it through several of those books to completion, like The Blazing World and I Am Margaret, I will start The Mercy of Gods by James S.A. Corey. This is a birthday gift from the sweet and wonderful Chrissy over at Chrissy's Purple Library. And I loved their writing in the first Expanse book. I'm still making my way through that series. However, this book is not getting a lot of love on YouTube. Like, no love on Booktube. So, I've watched a couple of sci-fi readers review it. So, I am still hopeful. I'm not one who generally needs opinions, like on Goodreads or whatever, to pick up a book. But I am very interested. So it's not overly long in comparison to everything else I'm reading at the moment. It's 422 pages. And if the writing is anything like The Expanse, which I can't imagine that it's not, this will be a very quick read. So keep your fingers crossed that I get this picked up this week. Okay, and not last. I feel like the month is running away, and it's really only the middle of the month, and yet I feel like the entire month is like gone, and I'm at the end of September and just devoid of, having read anything, which is bizarre because I've read a lot. Which leaves left on my pile of possibilities for the month, The Yard and Live Not by Lies. I probably will not get to these this week. We shall see. Okay, so the only other choice, and this was a late edition, probably moving this to Victober, where it fits in nicely because it was written in, I believe, 1895, or first published in 1895. Does it say in here? It does not say in here. Pretty sure it was first published in 1895, which fits it in Victorian literature by 6 years. That's Dracula. My leather-bound copy has arrived, and I am very much looking forward to this. And given the length of this book, I am very confused. This makes it sound like it's a big old chunker of a book. You pick up the leather-bound copy, and it doesn't seem to be a big old chunker. So I need to figure it out. So, but this is probably moving to Victober. And yeah, okay. So that is future plans. I will talk about Cymbeline next week. And did you guys read anything exciting last week? Less heavy than everything I read? And, you know, I realize most of you probably love Northanger Abbey. Please don't fill my comments with hate about it. I am not the world's greatest Austen fan. I'm just going to be upfront. I am not the world's greatest Austen fan. Northanger Abbey reminded me why. Leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and I will see you here next time at the Protagonist Pub.